Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the second episode of Inbox to Impact, TargetNXT's very own podcast where we discuss everything that impacts B2B outreach. I am Erin, your host. In the last episode, we talked about the dropping email rates and how this issue can be addressed by using clean and compliant data to run your campaigns, and making sure that your messages are actually personalized to show that you get what your buyer actually cares about. Today, we pick up from where we left off in the last episode and talk about what happens once you manage to get your target audience to open your emails. Because getting an open is only half the job done. And to make things very clear, I won't be one of those people who tell you that open rates don't matter, because they do. If you don't get opens, then nothing in this conversation is remotely relevant to you. An open means your subject line worked, your email stood out from the others in the recipient's inbox, and your sender name was trusted enough by both the ESP and the reader. But an open is just someone accepting an invite. It means your message made them curious enough to look. But what do they do after they open it? Do they read it, close it, or click it? That is what determines whether your campaigns are working or need adjustments. And right now, as we speak, hundreds of teams around the world are trying to raise their open rates, with the assumption that this is the metric that determines campaign success. In the meantime, they are missing what comes next. Do they engage with what is inside? Do they take the action you want them to take? This number, which tells you how many people click after opening your email, is the CTR, or click-through rate. Today we talk about just that, the CTR, what drags it down, what pushes it up, and what marketers are consistently getting wrong. And joining me today again is Clement, founder and CEO of TargetNXT. Welcome once again, Clement. Glad to have you back.
Thank you, Erin. Glad to be back.
So, Clement, what is happening behind the scenes? What actually happens when the reader opens the email? Walk us through those few critical seconds from the reader's perspective.
Quite a few things are happening simultaneously. The moment someone opens the email, they aren't reading. They are scanning for relevance. They are making quick judgment calls. Does this address my issue? Is it worth my time? And is there something I want to do? All of this takes about 3 to 5 seconds. Most emails fail to get past this time frame.
Wow, 3 to 5 seconds seems to be too short a time. But I think that is why we are getting to see this pattern repeatedly, where even if the open rates are good, the click-through rates are barely there. So naturally, this brings us to the next question. Are marketers paying it the attention it deserves?
Not really. Because open rates are a good metric. It is easy to measure. It feels good to watch those spikes, and it looks amazing on reports and slides. But click-through rate is where you understand if your message actually worked. Getting a 40% open rate is of no use when the CTR is 0.5%. It means that your campaign is broken and needs fixing.
Makes sense. So, what does a healthy click-through rate look like in 2026?
There is no such fixed figure, as it varies with industry and audience. But anything above 2% is pretty good. If you are getting more than 5% CTR, then congratulations. Whatever you are doing is working, and you should let things stay the same. The problem is, a lot of brands are sitting well below it and not asking why.
Okay, let's get into the why. And as someone who has spent years in sales, I have sat across enough campaign reviews to know that this next stat will make every marketer wince. Brands spend thousands of dollars on email design, copywriting, and campaign strategy. And despite all of this, the average CTR refuses to cross the 2% mark. If I were to put things in simpler words, for every 100 people you worked that hard to reach, 98 of them just moved on. And from a sales perspective, that's not just a marketing metric. That's your pipeline walking out the door. At some point, you have to stop and wonder if the email is giving the reader what they want, or is it just an elaborate brand promotion? Clement, what do you think is happening here?
Basically, the market has become more competitive, which means the inboxes of your target audience are full. So when someone opens your email, they decide rapidly whether to engage with it or not. If they can't see the value within a few seconds, They're just gone. But beyond that, and you'll get to see it constantly in B2B, emails are created to look impressive rather than to drive an action. And those are two very different approaches that produce very different results.
Can you distinguish between the two to make things clearer for our listeners?
Sure. See, Aaron, impressive emails are those where a lot of time has been spent on the aesthetics. I am talking beautiful hero images, clever copy, and a layout that looks like it belongs in a museum rather than someone's inbox. And there's nothing really wrong with it. But when the design gets too elaborate, messages can get lost. The reader looks at it, thinks to themselves, this is pretty, and moves on. You get compliments, not conversions.
I see it. So I suppose value-driven emails are those that get the user to click.
Exactly. In value-driven emails, every element, like the headline, the copy, the image, and the CTA, pushes the reader closer to taking the action it wants them to take. It might not look the most beautiful, but it offers the reader what they need to see, feel, and understand in order to click.
Got it. While we are on designs, are we officially past the era where people used to read emails from top to bottom?
Oh, most definitely. People are scanning for relevance. It might be a bold line, an image, or even a button that tells people what to do. If your email requires someone to read 3 paragraphs before they understand what you are talking about, the majority of your readers are gone. I can tell you that.
So, scannability is a must?
Absolutely.
So design plays a much bigger role than expected. All right. And while we are on it, I'd like to ask you about the impact it has on CTR.
Design has quite a big impact on CTR, actually. But it isn't about the aesthetics. It is about guiding the reader's eye. Where do they look first? What is the natural route from the subject line to CTA? A cluttered email where 5 different elements are fighting for attention fails to generate high CTRs.
Makes sense. This brings me to CTAs. Every day in my inbox, there would be at least 5 to 6 emails that ask me to do too many things at once. They want me to visit their product page, read a blog post, download a white paper, and follow them on their socials. Half the time, I end up not doing anything at all. And I think that's exactly the problem. I feel that when you give someone too many directions, you're essentially giving them none. Too many CTAs don't multiply your chances of a click, they divide them. Is that what you're seeing too?
All the time. And what you just described is actually a really common pattern. There's this impulse to include everything because the team worked hard on all of it, and nobody wants to leave anything out. But from the reader's perspective, all those options don't feel like value. They feel like a chore. And no one likes to click on a chore. The rule I live by is that there should be one primary CTA, and maybe one secondary if it's truly essential. That's it. The emails that consistently get clicks are the ones that make one clear ask and make it impossible to miss.
Yeah, honestly, one strong CTA and I might have actually clicked. But clarity alone isn't enough if the message doesn't feel relevant, which brings us to personalization. We have discussed personalization at length in our last episode. If you haven't checked it out already, you definitely should. But for today, let's talk about how personalization specifically affects the CTR. Clement, your thought?
Oh, it has a significant effect on CTR, but the bar is much higher. See, a relevant subject line will get you an open, but for clicks, the entire message has to feel like it was written for them. If they don't find that kind of relevance, they move on without clicking anything.
So, relevance has to exist throughout the content and not just the subject line.
Exactly. When the messaging feels relevant, the reader clicks without being pressurized into it. Another important part of relevance is clarity. Everyone appreciates clever copies, but if they have to pause to understand what you want them to do, you've lost them. Creativity should always add to clarity, not diminish it. The emails that I've seen perform the best are almost always to the point.
Last question. And this one I think isn't talked about as much as it should be. And that is the landing page. We always talk about the landing page as a post-click thing. But if someone's clicked your emails before and the landing page disappointed them, does that start to affect whether they'll click the next time around?
Oh, definitely. Readers carry expectations based on their past experiences with your brand. If they have clicked before and it took them to something slow or confusing, they are going to remember it. While they might not be consciously thinking, "I'm not clicking because the landing page will disappoint me," the skepticism is there. Even for new clicks, if they end up experiencing something generic, the same cycle will repeat. The click and the post-click experience are part of the same loop, so to optimize one, you have to optimize the other.
Got it. So listeners, make sure you create a landing page that loads fast, is clear, and offers value. Isn't that right, Clement?
Absolutely.
All right then. Now it's time for my favorite part of the podcast, the rapid fire round. I'll throw a few rapid questions your way, and let's see what our listeners can take away from this. Ready?
Yes, shoot.
One element every high-performing email must include.
One clear next step. Everything else should build toward that.
The biggest mistake marketers make with CTAs?
Writing them for the brand instead of the reader. Submit says nothing to the reader. Get the guide does. Make it about their benefit, not your product.
One metric to track alongside CTR?
Click to open rate, or CTOR. It tells you if someone read your email and then clicked.
One thing someone can do today to improve their CTR.
Cut the email in half. Most emails are twice as long as they need to be.
And finally, how does TargetNXT fit into the equation?
We give you the data to know exactly who you're talking to before you hit send. Because to get high CTRs, you have to be connecting with the right people to begin with.
And that really brings it all together. I said it at the beginning, and I'll say it again. Opens matter. But that is where it all begins. Your CTR tells you whether your content is working or needs more work. And getting that click isn't impossible. All you need to do is send one clear message, one obvious action, and content relevant enough to make the reader feel like you actually get them. The teams that are winning on CTR right now aren't doing anything extra. They're just getting those basics consistently right. Clement, this was such a valuable conversation. Thank you so much for breaking all of this down. I think a lot of people are going to listen to this and think about how they could have done things differently in their last campaign.
Really enjoyed it, Erin. Great conversation.
And I just want to close with this. Everything we talked about today, the relevance, the personalization, none of it works at scale without good data underneath it. Knowing who you're reaching, making sure that data is accurate and up to date, and making sure your message lands consistently in the inbox of your buyer. If you are looking for such data, TargetNXT is your one-stop destination. And that's it for today. Thank you all so much for tuning in to Inbox to Impact. We'll be back with more, and until then, keep it relevant, keep it clear, and keep showing up in the right inboxes. See you next time. Bye!